Good evening, everyone. Guys, sorry I'm a little bit late today. We had a little bit of hot weather in the UK. I think everybody's gone crazy. We had a barbecue. I brought the shashlik out and everyone was happy. But anyway, guys, so much has been happening, I think there's new fronts really close to being opened up. This whole Trump attempted assassination, it's kind of just, focused everybody's attention to this particular incident, and people are kind of getting blinkered into forgetting that the whole world's still moving. Now, I want this video to be a little bit of a, not confirmation, but just, I've been saying for the longest time, you're seeing this divergence in real time. And I'm going to show you an article in a moment about the Donald Trump's deputy leader, his running partner, or whatever they call it in America, this guy, JD Vance, and what his stance is on foreign policy. And it's no shock to me, it's no surprise to me, because, I think I heard somebody say, if you know the destination, the path becomes clear. If we just accept now that we're heading towards a global conflict, the likes this world has never seen before, if we understand that the United Kingdom has to lead NATO in Europe against the Russian threat, if we understand and accept that the United States do not want to break their spear on Russia in Ukraine because of the threats from China and the threats from the Middle East, then all these, unconnected little policy, all these unconnected little policy black swan events where people say, oh, we're going to do this, oh, we're going to do that. It all becomes very clear, and rather humorous, if you understand the bigger picture. It becomes, it becomes funny because, everybody thinks that these people are making decisions on their own, but they're not. To me, it just seems like one big picture and the way it's heading. Also, if you watched, if you've been following British politics, guys, we don't have a left and a right anymore in the UK. We just have I don't know, like a uniparty, because it seems that the policies that were put in place by the last government have now been totally abolished, thrown out the window. They don't exist, and they've just been renamed and put exactly the same. So, I think I'll do a separate video on that, guys, but let me just share this with you quickly. Where do we go? This one, guys. So I'll put the link to this article, guys, in the description. But so this is this guy, JD Vance. He sounds like a shop. I'm going to JD Vance to get some new trainers. But anyway, so he's Trump's pick for vice president. So he's a 39-year-old first-time senator from Ohio. I think that's good. Was a former Trump critic, but became a staunch MAGA supporter, particularly on trade, foreign policy, and immigration. A Marine Corps veteran and author of Hillbilly Elegy, don't know what that is. Graduate from Ohio State University, married to lawyer Usha Kill, I'm not going to pronounce that, the daughter of an Indian migrant, not sure why that's relevant. Worked in a Silicon Valley investment firm, strong support, here we go, guys, strong supporter of Israel with an American first, with an Israel exception worldview. So where does Vance stand on Ukraine, guys? And here it is, remember from my other videos, I say that nothing's hidden anymore. Everything's out in the open. You just need to know where to look and be able to separate the wheat from the chaff. So here we are, guys. Where does Vance stand on Russia's war in Ukraine? Vance is against the US providing funds to Ukraine amid the war with Russia. I've said this for the longest time, when Trump gets in, he's going to pull funding from Ukraine. That doesn't mean Ukraine is not going to be funded, because Europe's going to fund it. Guys, and look back through my other videos, I've been saying this for months. That is all America can do, realistically, to stop this war. Now, some people are saying, from America, that Ukraine should be, willing to accept cede land for peace. We can't have a situation in the world where if you have a war, you'll get a bit of land. It doesn't work like that. You have to, otherwise, where do we stop? Do we say, okay, France, come and take Dover? Well, we don't want any fighting, so they can come and take Dover. Okay, right, they've taken Dover. Well, what about if they push to Ashford? Okay, that's fine. They've only gone to Ashford. Well, they've gone to Folkestone. Okay, right. Folkestone and no more. Well, they're going mental for Deal. They want to take Deal as well. So you see where I'm going, guys, okay? We just can't have this. It's ridiculous. But I think it's all smoke and mirrors, and I don't think it really matters. In a recent speech, let's highlight it. In a recent speech at the National Conservative Conference, Vance said US involvement in Ukraine had no obvious conclusion or even objective that we're close to getting accomplished. I can't argue with that. I said about this conflict in Ukraine, like one of the first things I said was, okay, what does a win for Ukraine mean? And what does a win for Russia mean? Obviously, for Ukraine, do we mean back to 1991 borders? Do we mean back to 2013 borders? What do we mean for a win for Ukraine? Because I've still not heard any clear, outline of what this is. And for Russia, what is a clear win for Russia? Does Russia want all the way up to the Dnipro? Does Russia just want the towns they've got? Does Russia want so neither side have put out publicly, certainly, what they actually mean by a win. So, you can't argue with what he's saying. The VP pick has also pushed Europe to take a larger share of military defense, so the US can concentrate on tackling what it sees as threats posed by China. Guys, I've been saying this for such a long time. How do I know these things that are coming? I mean, I think this was published today, 16th, so yesterday. So how do I know these things that are getting said now when it's, and it's becoming breaking news, these guys are saying it. How do I know these things, and how have I been saying these months ago? Because if you can see the destination, all these little paths and these roads towards making those destinations real, they become so evident, and that's why I always spot things, and I can find things in the weeds. What leads to what? Like I've said, these F-16s, they're never going to be flown from Ukraine. They're always going to be flown from Poland. I mentioned this back in, what was it? Like March. I said, oh, that's an interesting article. I looked at the article about the Polish pilots saying, oh, we just wish we could, while we're going up to intercept these Russian missiles, if we could just fly a little bit into Ukraine and intercept these missiles, we'd save so many civilian lives, and there's no argument with that. It's true. But what that does is it lays seeds, and it lays the foundation for mission creep. So there you have it, guys. Okay, this diversion is. I'm not going to read anymore, guys. I'm going to keep this. Let me stop sharing. So I'm not going to share anymore, guys. I just wanted to get this out there. It's real. It's happening. Everybody. The board's more or less set now. I don't think we're going to get to November before there's a next, the next big escalation happens. But as you can see now, everybody's positioned up, and this diversions that I've been talking about for months now, it's just happening. But the reality is, it happens so slow. It happens at a snail's pace. Like this not totalitarian tiptoe. That's David Icke. This tactical tiptoe where one country will say something or do something a little bit, provocative, then, they'll back down, or that president will resign, or that person will stop working there again anymore. And then somebody else will push forwards, and then all the limelight's on these. But all these roads are, guys, leading to a third world war, and there's a lot of people now, all up in arms, and more people are starting to understand what is coming, and what I always tell people, imagine if it happened now. Imagine how people would go crazy. The supermarkets, they would run out of, the shelves would be stripped bare within 24 hours. Basic things like toilet roll, of course, toilet roll, medication, not just prescription medication. I'm talking about medication that you can get off the shelves as well, because people will be just, hoarding and bulk buying this stuff. Any medication that people need for their families, especially for their children, and for your pets, for your dogs and cats, whatever pets you've got, I don't know. These sort of things are things you need to be looking at now, because when these things start to happen, guys, you can forget about it. Most shops and supermarkets, if the event is big enough, the people who work in those shops, the people who work behind the counters, you know, they'll just take that stuff for themselves. Like you think the doctors won't take the medication for themselves and their families? You think the pharmacists won't take the medication for themselves and their families? Do you think the police will come out and help you? You know, if we do have one of these large scale incidents, and you know, that I was going to share it, in fact, I'll do it tomorrow, guys. You know, there's another article out where Russian state media or something, you know, they've identified 7 targets in the UK that they would nuke. And they're saying, you know, guys, look, the Russians are saying to the United Kingdom, guys, look, all it'll take is 3 nuclear missiles and your country's over. You know, so imagine if that did happen. Imagine if, you know, one of these incidents happened. Imagine how, you know, society in the UK would close down. And you know, your utilities that you expect to protect you, like your police, your fire, your ambulance, your fire service. Do you think the police? Do you think you're going to be able to ring 999 and phone the police? No, the police are going to be looking after their own family. You know, if the incident's big enough. Do you think the fire service is still going to be there, or do you think, you know, they're going to be tackling the big blazes if they've even gone into work at all? You know, your ambulance service, everybody's going to be looking out for their own families. And that's going to lead, guys, you know, I don't want to turn this into a prep channel, but I've seen this happen in so many countries, you know, where the rule of law just goes. And what will happen as soon as the law breaks down, then the criminal gangs will start moping around, and they'll start, you know, they'll understand that there's no police, so the criminal gangs get emboldened, so the crime rate goes up, so people are left to defend themselves. And you know, especially in the UK, we are not prepared for that one little bit. People in the UK have no idea what is coming. Potentially, guys, that's my speculation anyway. Guys, I'm going to keep it short today because there's a lot to do tomorrow. I'm probably going to have to post like 3 or 4 videos tomorrow. But let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Don't forget to like and share my stuff. I really appreciate it when you do that. And if you've not done so already, please give me a subscribe and a follow. Guys, I'm going to back to grid and let me turn this off. I'll see you guys later.